Hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and we're going to learn some things about oil pastels. We're going to learn one about how to use them, like blending, and oil pastel, OP for short, care. How to care for them and use them properly. That's an important part of being an artist, learning how to care for your materials. Second thing we're going to learn, we are going to make an oil pastel color wheel. I know you did this with the colored pencil, but this is good practice for blending, and blending will be required if you use oil pastels for your final project. So we're going to practice. Okay, and while we're practicing, this is a compass. And it helps us draw circles. And let's see, we're going to do a relatively small color wheel, and some of them this part is worn off, but I'll help you find the spot, the little place, the little hole that you're going to put your pencil in to draw your circle. Let's aim for about a 4-inch diameter, 4-inch diameter circle. So you want to put your pencil in where it says 2 inches, and I'm going to hold my finger down on that little metal part in the middle, and I'm going to bring, and I had to move my hand out of the way to get all the way around. And that's pretty small, but it should be plenty big enough for us to make our circle. Now, you're going to divide this into 6 parts. Okay, so I'm going to divide it in half, and I made it a 4-inch circle, so I know I'm dividing it pretty much in half if my line is on 4 there and 0 there. And then this is the tricky part. I'm going to do the same thing, but not in half here. I'm going to go off a little bit, about 1/3 of the way between here and here. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm kind of making an X. There's my X, and there I'm going to divide one part of the X in half. If you end up with 8 parts, you've done something wrong. Now this piece is bigger than those 2 pieces, but it's okay. One thing I'm looking for is 6 parts in your directions. Okay, so if it helps you to label, and actually my primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. That's important. And the order you put things in here is important also. So I'm going to start with one box. I'm going to label that red, and then I'm going to skip a box, label this. Doesn't matter whether you put yellow or blue here, but I like to go the same way. It helps me remember. Then skip one, and blue goes here. So if we add red plus yellow, that equals orange. And if we take yellow and blue, that equals green. Blue plus red equals purple, or violet. Doesn't matter. On Crayola crayons, you see violet, and in parentheses purple. That means it's the same thing. Okay, purple and violet are pretty much synonymous. They mean the same thing. Okay. Another thing we're going to do, I'm going to put a small square, smallish square in between the primaries. Oh, and so these would be secondaries. Orange, purple and violet, orange and green are secondary colors. And we're going to make the tertiary or intermediate colors in these little boxes. So red plus orange equals red-orange. Orange plus yellow equals yellow-orange. Okay, and the rest are the same. So yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, red-violet. This box I'm going to fill in with red. And when I use oil pastels, I like to go in little circles because it kind of fills a little bit better. And this I kind of want to fill in pretty completely because it's just going to be red. And I'm kind of being gentle because the paper will only take so much oil pastel. And when it's getting done, you know, and it's getting to capacity with the oil pastel, it makes those little crumbs. And that means that, you know, no more oil pastel can stick. So go easy at first. And I'm going to use yellow here. Always check your yellow and white and your other light colors to see that they're not dirty. This red, or this yellow, is dirty on the end. There are a couple ways you can clean it. You can use a paper towel to wipe off the end, or you can smudge it on a scrap piece of paper. Don't smudge it on the back of your drawing. Oh my goodness. Because that's going to get all over somebody else's and kind of ruin it. So, okay, so now that's pretty clean and it's usable. That's one thing about oil pastel care and making sure that your piece looks its best. Okay, then I'm going to use blue for this huge spot right here. Being gentle at first. Go over it again because this is only going to be blue. There's nothing wrong with using a single color, but when you're working on a real drawing for a final piece, mixing colors is much more interesting, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, probably in another video, but we're going to practice some mixing here. Now, for this video, I only want to see red, yellow, and blue. No other colors. I've got some extra blues, and it might not be this blue, but you'll have a blue. Okay, yellow, when I'm mixing my orange, I want yellow first, because yellow is one of the weakest colors, and I know I'm getting some red in there, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to put some red in it anyway. And I'm being gentle. You can see the little yellow or the little white spots of paper showing through. Now I'm going to take some red, and I'm going to be gentler with the red because the red will overpower the yellow. And it's looking a little bit orangey already. Then I'm going to take my yellow again, just like with colored pencil. Sometimes you have to go back and forth to make the color that you want. Back and forth between the 2 or 3 colors that you're using. And these are going to be some 2-color mixes that we're making on our color wheel. I know some people, some art teachers teach oil pastel that you color and then you rub with your finger. I never teach that. You did not see me use my finger to blend anything on this one, and the color is really good. I use the pastel to kind of stir it up, and that's what I want to see you doing. Okay, this has orange on it now, so I'm going to clean it before I move on to my green. Because the orange or red on your yellow pastel will mess up your green. So, because their red and green are opposites, and we'll talk about that more a little later before you do your final color project. I'm getting a little bit of blue in there, but that's all right. This blue is going to go in here. I'm going to take my blue, and I'm going to be gentle because the blue will definitely overpower the yellow if we're not careful. And I'm going to stir it up more with my yellow. I think I'm going to put some more blue in there, just a little bit, because it could be greener. Because don't forget, we're going to make some tertiary colors or intermediates. Intermediate and tertiary are the same word for the same thing, or for the same group of colors. You can see the little crumbs kind of peeling off of there that I'm kind of smushing back in. And there's something on my blue pastel. Okay, that's a better green. And it's more, intensity-wise, it's more on the same level. And remember, intensity is one of our vocabulary words for color. If a color is intense, it's very intense, it's the very purest form of the color. Okay, so we're done with yellow for a little bit. To make the purple, it doesn't really matter which color you use first. Since I have red in my hand, I'll use that. Be gentle at first. And then I'm going to take my blue. I've got green on my blue because you don't want green in your purple. So I'm going to clean that off. Purple is a tricky color. Sometimes it ends up looking kind of dirty because usually because the red is kind of a orangey red and it comes out looking kind of brown. But this one I think is going to be pretty good with this blue and that red. So I want to mix it up a little bit more, so I'm going to go back to my red. I might end up going back to my blue. So I'm covering up with my layers, I'm covering up as many of the little white speckles from the paper as I can. That's a pretty good purple. Okay, now we've got the primary colors, the secondary colors, primary, secondary, done. Now let's go for our tertiary colors. Okay, my yellow is kind of getting down to the paper. The paper's going to scratch off what you just put on. So you are always allowed to peel some of the paper off, but the paper is trash, so it goes in the trash can, not back in your pastel box. Okay, so let's start with red, orange. I need red plus orange. So orange has yellow in it. So start with yellow. And then I'm going to add red. I'm not going to be as gentle with this because I want it to be redder than the orange. And I can compare those two. That's redder than the orange. I'm going to add just a little more yellow to it, so it's not too red. We want the yellow to show some. I'm going to wipe that off. Okay. Okay. Yellow, orange. I'm going to start with my yellow because it's a weak color and it'll be hard to... That's another thing I could have done. Since there's not much yellow in the red orange, I could have done red lightly and added the orange in. This time I'm going to want lots more yellow because I'm next to the yellow and just a tiny bit of red. I'm going to be really gentle because I don't want as much red. And then I'm going to add more orange more yellow to stir it up. I want to make sure that this color is not as orange as that color. So we have to use our eyes and compare what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to clean that off because I'm going to need my yellow for my yellow green. We don't want any red or orange in our yellow green. Same thing, start with yellow. Got purple on my blue, so I want to get that off of there. You don't want purple in your yellow green. It'll turn out yucky. Okay, I'm going to be very, very gentle with my blue because I don't want my green to be that green, or my yellow green to be that green. And not as yellow as that yellow, somewhere in between. Okay. Clean that off because I need a little bit of yellow. Let's try it this way. Since I need blue-green, I don't need quite as much yellow, so let's start with our blue. And I'm going to kind of be a little bit gentle. Peel off some more of that. I want it to be bluer than that, but not that blue. They're looking kind of the same, so I'm going to, put some blue in it. Okay, bluer than that, but not as blue as that. And I'm going to clean that green off of there because I'm going to need my blue for my blue-violet. Don't want green in my blue-violet. Okay, I want it to be bluer than this blue, but not as purple as that. Clean that off a little bit. Oops. I'm going to be gentle with my red. And then I'm going to mix more blue. You can go just a tiny bit more. Now, last but not least, red violet. I'm going to do my red first because that worked really good doing my blue first there. I want going to be gentle with my blue because I want it purpler than that, but redder than that. Okay, I'm going to add just a tiny bit more blue. I'm reaching my maximum amount of pastel on there. Okay. Okay. I think I'll stop there. Okay. So that's my color wheel with my primary and my secondary colors, green, orange, and violet or purple. And then my secondary color, or my tertiary colors around the outside. Use your eyes and compare your colors. This one's purpler than this, but not as purple as that. Purpler than this red, but not as purple as this. Red or orangier than that, but not as red, but not as orangey as that. Yellower than that one, but orangier than that one. Greener than that, but yellower than this. Bluer than that green, but greener than that blue. Okay, when you are finished, you're going to take a photo, upload it to Canvas, make sure your name is on it. And let's see, this will be worth 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to say 20 points, 12 for colors, let's see, it leaves 8, so 4 for a good photo, and 4 for neatness. Okay, so 20 points altogether, 12 for your colors because you're making 12 colors, and 3 are gimmies. 4 for a good photo where the paper is square and it's cropped, and 4 for neatness. All right, so good luck. Let me know if you need help. Bye-bye.